Good morning, everyone. I've been in Mexico City for about, I think, 8 or 9 days so far, just wandering the streets, eating a lot of street food, and just enjoying the beautiful weather. Today I thought it was time to get back into a little bit of cooking, except I was gonna make a little bit of a challenge out of it. So the challenge is gonna be I'm only allowed to buy $10 worth of ingredients, which based on current exchange rates is around 188 pesos. So compared to a lot of other major cities in the US, Mexico City has a very low cost of living, and that's primarily due to lower wages across the board and like the purchasing power of the dollar. Basically, $1 of food goes a lot further here. Also, if any of you are wondering, I'm just wandering around Chapultepec Park. It's kind of like Central Park in New York City, except I think like double or triple the size. It's like a 2 or 3 minute walk from my Airbnb, so I've been running here almost every morning, and I really, really love it. But enough about that, let's go hunt down some ingredients. So instead of just taking you to one spot, I thought it would be fun to kind of showcase a little bit of the variety of how you get your food in Mexico City. So the first thing we're gonna do is go down to Mercado Median, which is a food market with a bunch of different produce, meats, and cheeses. Then we're gonna hit up a tortilleria, which have beautiful fresh made tortillas. They're super cheap and just absolutely delicious. And then lastly, we're gonna stop at a grocery store called the Superama, basically a typical grocery store that you'd see in the States, just so you guys can get a variety of what kind of places that you can get your food. All right, now that I'm kind of away from the main streets, basically Mercado Median is like probably a 25-30 minute walk from where I'm staying. And basically I'm shooting through Condesa right now, which is just like a little neighborhood. Condesa turns into Roma, and then right around the Roma area is where the market is. So this market is basically, there's a bunch of produce, like I was saying, there's meats, cheeses, everything. But I learned in a cooking class actually, which I'm gonna have a separate video on coming out later this week, that this market, they actually buy most of the products and then just sell them. They don't actually grow them themselves, but they do purchase them from local growers and then sell everything. So everything's super fresh, really good, a lot of good variety. And then in the market, what I'm looking to buy is primarily my produce. I know I want to make like pickled onions because that's one of my favorite things of all times. Probably get stuff for like a salsa, pickled onions, just if there's any other kind of like fresh produce that's looking good. Maybe I'll make refried beans or something. I don't know, what to see. But basically what I'll do is just go in and purchase everything, and then I'll give you guys up a little tally at the end, and then we'll hit our next spot. Step down a little side street because it's pretty loud, but I have secured the produce from Mercado Median. Got a bunch of different stuff. I'll go over everything once I get back to the house, but this bag of produce only costs me 60 pesos, which is around like, I guess like a little bit over $3. Next stop is to get some tortillas. So we're gonna hit up a little tortilleria, which are just these like little small kind of like hole in the wall things where they just have a tortilla machine and they spit these things out. So many. On the cooking class, I was told that there was a small one where they do like over 30,000 tortillas a day, and it's really, really cheap. It's like a kilo is like 14 pesos, which is like less than $1. Should give you probably like 15 to 20 tortillas. So we're gonna stop there, and then we're gonna head back to the grocery store and to pick up our protein. All right, so the tortilleria is just up here on the left, and it looks like they're actually selling tacos today. I guess it is a weekend, so maybe that's why they do that, but normally it's not like that. And then basically right now I'm walking on Zamora, and there's this really good quesadilla spot that I found that they're only open from like 7:30 to like 11:30 p.m. at night. but definitely gonna have to show you guys that at some point. And then right around the corner after I get the tortillas is going to be the Superama, and then we should have around like 110 pesos left. Had to give you guys the live look in. I definitely underestimated how much a kilo was. I think I saw people getting half a kilo. That's why I was wondering, but I'm telling you, this is like, I don't know, you tell me. Like 30 or 40 tortillas, and they're so warm and just fresh. Got a little taste of one. So good. These were actually 15 because I had to pay pesos for the paper. So we have 15, 60. We should have like 113 pesos left to go get meat or cheese or whatever other kind of fillings I want. So we're gonna go over to the Superama. It's literally 2-minute walk away, and see what we can find. Just got everything at the Superama. Literally came out perfect. 110 pesos, and actually like 8 pesos were spent on this little thing because I'm hungry. I didn't really eat much yesterday. Wasn't feeling the greatest, so gonna give you a little live look at what this tastes like. It's like a ham pastry thing. There's little bits of ham in there, and then there's some kind of sweet cheese that is really quite good. But for 8 pesos, pretty tasty. All right, but now we're gonna head back to the Airbnb. I'll dump everything out and give you guys like a rough breakdown of everything that I got and the cost. Like I said, we're actually a little bit under budget. I think it was like 185 pesos or so. So super happy with that. And then it's time to actually cook all this stuff. Alright, I just tallied everything up, but I think you guys are going to be pretty interested to see what the prices equate to in United States dollars. So for the produce, I don't have the exact cost of each item just because she didn't give me a receipt in Mercado Median, but for everything else, I do have the exact cost of each one, and this is how it breaks out. For the produce, it was a total of 60 pesos, or around $3.22. The produce consisted of a red onion, 1 huge avocado, 3 poblanos, about 12 Roma tomatoes, 3 limes, and a bunch of cilantro. The stack of warm tortillas was 15 pesos, or just 80 cents. And finally, the 6 chicken thighs were 52 pesos, or $2.79. The loose chorizo was 32 pesos, or $1.71. The strawberry donut, the bread roll, and cookie were 18 pesos total for all 3, or 96 cents. That brings our grand total food cost to 177 pesos, or around $9.48. So for me, that's just a crazy amount of food for under $10. So to actually cook it up, I decided to keep it pretty simple and kind of leave my options open for the rest of the week because clearly I was gonna have a lot of leftover food. So since I didn't have an oil source, I needed to render out some of the chicken fat from the skin. So I just removed all the skin from the thighs, tossed it in a pan on medium-low heat with a little bit of salt, and let that render out so the fat comes out. Then meanwhile, I just decided to debone the chicken thighs, and you can use the bones for something else, but since I'm kind of not in my own kitchen, I didn't really want to make a stock or something, but definitely do that if you are in your own kitchen. Then once they're all deboned, I just decided to cut them up into little chunks that were going to be used to saute down with the poblanos. Meanwhile, just continue to let that chicken skin render out, and if anyone's ever doubted my commitment to sharp knives, I actually did bring my 1000 grit whetstone in my carry-on bag, because I figured the knives would be pretty dull, and they were. And honestly, these needed more work than I could give them, so I kind of had to make do today, but hopefully later this week, I'll give a full sharpening. Now we're just going to make a quick pickled onion. So I took that red onion, cut it in half, and then I'm making slices from the stem to the root. I don't like crosswise. I find that these slices work much better for pickled onions. Then I'm just going to break them up, throw them in a bowl, then add in a liberal amount of salt and a bunch of that fresh lime juice. Then to top this all off, I'm just going to pour some water over top so it just covers the onions. And then normally I would throw this on the stove, but I decided to just throw it into the microwave. And then I'm going to set this in the fridge until it's ready to serve. With the pickled onions out of the way, it's time to get onto these poblanos. So I just sliced them up into slices that we're gonna saute down with that chicken. Meanwhile, that chicken skin has rendered out, leaving fat in the pan, and now we've got this gorgeous crisp chicken skin that can be used as a topping. So I'm just gonna slide in my chicken thighs and then add in those poblanos, stir everything up and let this cook down for about 15 minutes or so. Make sure you add a nice pinch of salt too. With the chicken cooking, we're gonna prepare a really basic kind of guacamole, just opening up half of that avocado, then slicing it up and adding it to a bowl. Next, I'm just gonna dice up some of those Roma tomatoes, toss them in as well, and then we're gonna add in a bunch of fresh cilantro. Just season that with some salt and lime juice and stir it up, and now we've got this really basic kind of guacamole that is perfect to provide some freshness to tacos or tortas or anything that you wanna make. And then I'm going to chop up that crispy chicken skin. And this kind of mimics what they do with chicharron in Mexico City, where they'll chop up crispy pork belly and then mix it with their carnitas for a really nice taco. Once the chickens are done, I'm just spreading that out over to a plate, and I'm telling you, super simple but so delicious. With the chicken done, I'm just using that same pan to toss in and fry up our chorizo and letting that get all nice and crispy. Okay, and then this is one ingredient that I didn't technically buy. I bought it earlier in the week, but it's Oaxaca cheese and it's super stringy, and I'm just using it. I probably only use like 50 pesos worth, but if you want to count it against me, go ahead. But basically, it's this really stringy cheese that melts super well. You can just eat it as is, it's kind of fun, but I'm gonna toss it in with the chorizo and let it melt down. With the cheese melted, I'm just going to transfer that over into a nice little serving bowl, and we are about good to go. And when you bring all the food over to the table, it's really crazy just how much you have. We've got the beautiful chicken and poblano that can be used as a topping for tacos. The same goes with the chorizo and the queso, and then that crispy chicken skin. Obviously, we've got the freshness of the guacamole and the pickled onions. We've got some little bakery treats with the cookie and that strawberry donut, as well as a ton of tortillas. We can make a torta out of the bread roll. And then honestly, I didn't even use like half of the produce just because I didn't want to use it all and then have it just go to waste because I know I wasn't going to finish it in time. Though it's simple, this is really an impressive amount of food, and it just shows you what you can do by using just simple ingredients and simple cooking methods to make a quite unique meal. So what did you guys think? Was that an impressive amount of food for $10? I definitely think it was. I mean, when you consider that Mexico City is like, you know, the 5th biggest city in the world, it's not going to necessarily be the super cheap place to live. I mean, I feel like if you were in New York City or Chicago, you would easily spend like $20, $25, $30 for that amount of food, if not more. And hopefully you guys got a cool idea of the city, whereas, you know, there's a bunch of different ways you can get your food. You don't just have to go to like Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. Like, you can go to these little food markets and they're open every day of the week. You can just stop on little stands selling tortillas, or sometimes there's just other stands that just sell little produce stands too. You know, so obviously you're gonna find a lot of the convenience of going to a grocery store, which is gonna have everything, but there are multiple ways to get food down here in Mexico City, which it's really fun, and it kind of makes it feel like you're exploring the city, and you can just kind of stumble across things and then just go with what your gut tells you. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry if this was like a little bit all over the place. I know it's kind of a different format, but I wanted you guys to get a feel for the city as well as just some of the cooking. I've got a couple more videos planned coming up. I did go to this really awesome cooking class a couple of days ago, and I'm working on kind of collating all my notes and things about the stuff that I learned, and then I'll be sharing that with all of you guys too, so be on the lookout for that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you got a little taste of what it may be like to, you know, live and cook in Mexico City. And if you want to come down here, I would highly recommend it. Like I said, this is my 9th day here. I've just been eating so much of the street food, learning so much, trying to work on my Spanish here and there where I can. It is getting better, by the way. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.